Matthew. Chapter 8. And when he came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And behold, a leper, coming near, worshipped him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can cleanse me. And stretching out his hand, he touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, See that you tell no one, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift which Moses commanded, for a testimony to them. And when he entered into Capernaum, a centurion came to him, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant is lying in the house paralyzed, terribly tormented. And he said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not fit for you to enter under my roof, but only speak a word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this one, Go, and he goes, and to another, Come, and he comes, and to my slave, Do this, and he does it. Now when Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who followed, Truly I say to you, with no one in Israel have I found such great faith. But I say to you that many will come from the east and the west and will recline at table with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of the heavens. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into the outer darkness. In that place there will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said to the centurion, Go. As you have believed, so be it done to you. And his servant was healed in that hour. And Jesus, coming into Peter's house, saw his mother-in-law lying down and in a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her. And she arose and served him. And when evening fell, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed, and he cast out the spirits with a word, and all those who were ill he healed. So that what was spoken through Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, saying, He himself took away our infirmities and bore our diseases. Now when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side. And a scribe came near and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of heaven have roosts, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. And another of the disciples said to him, Lord, permit me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead. And when he stepped into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, so that the boat was covered by the waves, but he was sleeping. And they came near and roused him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. And he said to them, Why are you cowardly, you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, What kind of man is this that even the winds and the sea obey him? And when he came to the other side, into the region of the Gadarenes, 2 possessed by demons met him, as they were coming out of the tombs, so exceedingly fierce that no one was able to pass by on that road. And behold, they cried out, saying, What do we have to do with you, Son of God? Have you come here before the time to torment us? Now there was, a good way off from them, a herd of many hogs feeding. And the demons entreated him, saying, If you cast us out, send us into the herd of hogs. And he said to them, Go. And they came out and went into the hogs. And behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep slope into the sea, and they died in the waters. And those who were feeding them fled and went away into the city and reported everything, including what had happened to those possessed by demons. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they entreated him to depart from their borders. Matthew. Chapter 9. And stepping into a boat, he crossed over and came to his own city. And behold, they brought to him a paralytic, lying on a bed. And Jesus, seeing their faith, said to the paralytic, Take courage, child, your sins are forgiven. And behold, some of the scribes said within themselves, This man blasphemes. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, Why are you thinking evil things in your hearts? For which is easier, to say, Your sins are forgiven, or to say, Rise and walk? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins, then he said to the paralytic, Rise, take up your bed and go to your house. And he rose and went away to his house. And when the crowd saw this, they feared and glorified God, who had given such authority to men. And as Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man sitting at the tax office, called Matthew, and he said to him, Follow me. And he rose and followed him. And as he was reclining at table in the house, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and reclined together with Jesus and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with the tax collectors and sinners?" Now when he heard this, he said, "Those who are strong have no need of a physician, but those who are ill. But go and learn what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Then the disciples of John came to him, saying, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast much, but your disciples do not fast?" And Jesus said to them, "The sons of the bride chamber cannot mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them, can they? But days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then they will fast. No one puts a patch of unfooled cloth on an old garment, for that which fills it up pulls away from the garment, and a worse tear is made. Neither do they put new wine into old wineskins, otherwise, the wineskins burst, and the wine pours out, and the wineskins are ruined, but they put new wine into fresh wineskins, and both are preserved." As he was speaking these things to them, behold, a ruler came and worshipped him, saying, "My daughter has just died, but come and lay your hand on her, and she will live." And Jesus rose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And behold, a woman who had been suffering from a hemorrhage for 12 years approached from behind and touched the fringe of his garment. For she said within herself, "If only I touch his garment, I will be healed." And Jesus, turning and seeing her, said, "Take courage, daughter, your faith has healed you." And the woman was healed from that hour. And when Jesus came to the ruler's house and saw the flute players and the crowd making a commotion, he said, "Depart, for the girl has not died but is sleeping." And they laughed scornfully at him. But when the crowd had been put out, he entered and took hold of her hand, and the girl rose up. And this report went out into all that land. And as Jesus passed on from there, 2 blind men followed him, crying out and saying, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." And when he came into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" They said to him, "Yes, Lord." Then he touched their eyes, saying, "According to your faith, let it be done to you." And their eyes were opened. And Jesus sternly charged them saying, "See that no one knows." But they went out and spread reports about him in all that land. And as they were going out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a demon. And when the demon was cast out, the dumb man spoke. And the crowds marveled, saying, "Never has anything like this been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "By the ruler of the demons he casts out the demons." And Jesus went about all the cities and the villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every sickness. And seeing the crowds, he was moved with compassion for them, because they were harassed and cast away like sheep not having a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is great, but the workers few. Therefore beseech the Lord of the harvest that he would thrust out workers into his harvest." Matthew chapter 10. And he called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority over unclean spirits, so that they would cast them out and heal every disease and every sickness. And the names of the 12 apostles are these: first, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, and James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother. Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus. Simon the Cananean, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent forth, charging them, saying, "Do not go into the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter into any city of the Samaritans. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, proclaim, saying, The kingdom of the heavens has drawn near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. Do not acquire for yourselves gold nor silver nor copper for your belts. No bag for the journey nor 2 tunics nor sandals nor a staff, for the worker is worthy of his food. And into whatever city or village you enter, find out who in it is worthy, and there remain until you depart. And as you enter into the house, greet it. And if the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it, but if it is not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whoever does not receive you nor hear your words, as you go out of that house or city, shake off the dust from your feet. Truly I say to you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore prudent as serpents and guileless as doves. And beware of men, for they will deliver you up to Sanhedrins, and in their synagogues they will scourge you. And you will also be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony to them and to the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, do not be anxious about how or what you should speak, for it will be given to you in that hour what you should speak. For you are not the one speaking, but the Spirit of your Father is the one speaking in you. And brother will deliver up brother to death, and father his child, and children will rise up against their parents and put them to death. And you will be hated by all because of my name. But he who has endured to the end, this one shall be saved. And when they persecute you in this city, flee into another. For truly I say to you, you shall by no means finish the cities of Israel until the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not above the teacher, nor a slave above his master. It is sufficient for the disciple that he become like his teacher, and the slave like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more those of his household? Therefore do not fear them, for there is nothing covered which will not be revealed, and hidden which will not be made known. What I say to you in the darkness, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in Gehenna. Are not 2 sparrows sold for an assarion? And not one of them will fall to the earth apart from your Father. But even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Therefore do not fear, you are of more value than many sparrows. Everyone therefore who will confess in me before men, I also will confess in him before my Father who is in the heavens. But whoever will deny me before men, I also will deny him before my Father who is in the heavens. Do not think that I have come to bring peace on the earth, I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set men at variance, a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be those of his household. He who loves father or mother above me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter above me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his soul life shall lose it, and he who loses his soul life for my sake shall find it. He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who has sent me. He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he who receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever gives to one of these little ones only a cup of cold water to drink in the name of a disciple, truly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. Matthew chapter 11. And when Jesus had finished giving instructions to his 12 disciples, he departed from there to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when John heard in the prison of the works of the Christ, he sent word through his disciples. And said to him, Are you the coming one, or should we expect another? And Jesus answered and said to them, Go, report to John the things that you hear and see. The blind receive their sight and the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised and the poor have the gospel announced to them. And blessed is he who is not stumbled because of me. And as these went away, Jesus began to say to the crowds concerning John, What did you go out into the wilderness to look at? A reed shaken by the wind? But what did you go out to see? A man arrayed in soft clothing? Behold, those who wear soft clothing are in the houses of kings. But why did you go out? To see a prophet? Yes, I say to you, and much more than a prophet. This is he concerning whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before your face, who will prepare your way before you. Truly I say to you, among those born of women there has not arisen one greater than John the Baptist, yet he who is least in the kingdom of the heavens is greater than he. But from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of the heavens is taken by violence, and violent men seize it. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you are willing to receive it, he is Elijah, who is to come. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. But to what shall I liken this generation? It is like little children sitting in the marketplaces, who call to the others. And say, We have played the flute to you, and you did not dance, we have sung a dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say, He has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold, a gluttonous man and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is justified by her works. Then he began to reproach the cities in which most of his works of power took place, because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the works of power which took place in you had taken place in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say to you, it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon in the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, who have been exalted to heaven, to Hades you will be brought down. For if the works of power which took place in you had taken place in Sodom, it would have remained until today. But I say to you that it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for you. At that time Jesus answered and said, I extol you, Father, Lord of heaven and of earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and intelligent and have revealed them to infants. Yes, Father, for thus it has been well-pleasing in your sight. All things have been delivered to me by my Father, and no one fully knows the Son except the Father, neither does anyone fully know the Father except the Son and him to whom the Son wills to reveal him. Come to me all who toil and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.